All right, so we are going to solve quadratic equations. So I said it before and I'm gonna say it again. Look, all quadratic equations must be set equal to 0. At least that's what I'm saying right now. Later on, when we complete the square, it's gonna be something else. They're supposed to all be equal to 0, all right? But when you graph, the 0 becomes the y, so they could be equal to 0 or to y. All right, so as you can see, I have laid down the steps on how to do it. Okay, so I just pause it and look at this. Okay, remember what they're called: roots, solutions, x-intercepts, whatever. All right, let's see now. So there are several ways of solving a quadratic equations, and we're gonna browse through some of them. For example, here it says solve for y squared equals 16. Here I would just do the following. I know that 16 has a square root, and from Pythagoras I learned that at the end I could just, if I wanted y, I could just take the square root of y, and what you do to one side you do to the other, so y becomes 4. Unfortunately, it's not true at all. Y is not just 4, y is positive or negative 4. But why? Easy. 4 squared is 16. Guess what? Negative 4 squared is the same thing as negative 4 times negative 4, which is also 16. So that's why we write plus or minus. Now, to show you, I'm going to use the method that I've been talking about since I started this lesson. All quadratic equations must be set to be equal to 0. This quadratic equation was not equal to 0, it was equal to 16, so I'm going to subtract 16 from both sides. So that becomes 0, and now y squared minus 16 equals 0. Okay, and now I'm going to factor. To factor, I take the greatest common factor, but unfortunately, I don't have one, because these two numbers cannot be divided by a common number. Okay then, so now I go like y squared is y and y. 16, 4, and 4. Okay, now what happens if I had tried 8 and 2 for 16? Because those are also factors. 8 and 2. Well, 8 and 2. When I do the smiley face, I get 2y and I get 8y. But wait, hold on a second. What do you mean? Well, look at this equation right here. This right here, I only have 2 terms. Usually when I factor, I have 3. So basically, I can rewrite y squared minus 16, okay, equals 0 as y squared plus 0y, because there is no middle term right here, remember? 0y and then minus 16. So in other words, I need to get a 0 in the middle. Oh! So that's why I put 4 and 4. It's always going to be the same thing. Okay, so now 4y, 4y. So therefore, one has to be positive and the other one has to be negative in order for me to get 0 in the middle. All right, so now what? Well, remember, this is a quadratic equation and it's equal to 0. So what number plus 4 is 0? Negative 4. What number minus 4 is equal to 0? 4. So I can look 4 and negative 4 as my solutions. So that's what I mean. That's what I meant. Okay. So now let's go on to the next one. Oh, by the way, what is the relationship that you notice between the factors and the solutions? Yes, exactly. They're opposites. So then that will help me on this problem. It says I'm supposed to write an equation, a quadratic equation that has roots of 2 and 5. So I'm saying that roots 2 and 5. First, ask yourself, what is the relationship between the roots and the factors? So you're right, they're opposites. Okay. So then what would I get? Well, if x equals 2 and x equals 5, you gotta make them equal to 0. Well, how do I make this equal to 0? Subtract 2, subtract 5. So in other words, this is what I get. X minus 2, okay, and x minus 5 equals 0. Since the factors have a opposite relationship with the roots. Okay, now what? Now you multiply this. Oh, okay. So x times x is x squared. Now if I do the smiley face right here, I'm gonna get my middle term. So I get negative 5x and I get negative 2x. That's negative 7x. Negative 2 times negative 5 is positive 10, equal to 0. Voila, bada bing, bada boom. I got my quadratic equation. Here, this is a proportion. In a proportion, basically, we just cross multiply and we got, you know, we're on the right track. So let's cross multiply. So what will you do first? Hello, I will cross multiply. Okay, cool. So let's see. What is 9 times 144? I have no idea. So let's figure it out. That's when I cross multiply, I get x squared, okay, equals to, and then 9 times 144 is 1296. So right here at this step, I could just take the square root of this, okay, and I would say that x equals to plus or minus. Remember, now you're taking the square root of that. So what am I gonna do? Well, first of all, we need to figure out what the square root is. So the square root is 36. So x equals to positive 36 and x equals to negative 36. Now, once again, could I have done it the other way? Yes, I could have just subtract this and make it equal to 0 like every other quadratic equation. So I would end up with x squared minus 1296 equaling 0. Then there is no GCF, so I go straight into factoring. And I go like, okay, factors of x squared are x and x. And then remember, there is no middle term here. So the middle term is 0. So therefore, these two numbers have to be the same. One with a positive sign and the other one with a negative sign. And then you would have said, okay, set each of these equal to 0. So here, x would be negative 36. And here, x would be positive 36. And that's it. Okay? All right, let's move on then. Here, solve. Since this is a proportion, what will you do first? I will cross multiply. All right, okay, now what? So let's cross multiply. So I have 3 times x plus 2 equaling to 2x, okay, 2x plus 1 times x minus 2. Okay, that's basically what it is. Okay, so now let's use the distributive property. So I get 3x plus 6, okay, equals 2x squared minus 4x plus 1x minus 2. Okay, now quadratic equations are supposed to be equal to 0, so I'm going to set this equal to 0. How? Well, I'm going to make this side equal to 0 because I don't want, don't ever try to change. If you have a positive x squared and you have a quadratic equation, don't try to move the x squared to the other side so it can become negative, because then it's going to be a hassle. Always try to move the other side. Not if it's positive. If it's negative, definitely move it to the other side so it can become positive. Oh my God, my tongue twisted. So 0, I already subtracted 3x and I subtracted 6. So 2x squared minus 4x plus x minus 2 minus 3x minus 6. Okay? All right, let's add the like terms now. So 2x squared, negative 4x goes with the x, and then with negative 3x. So basically, I have negative 4x plus x is negative 3x. Negative 3x minus 3x is negative 6x. And now the loose numbers. Negative 2 and negative 6 is negative 8. Okay? Okie dokie. So now let's see if I can factor. So basically we've been solving quadratic equations by factoring. Later on we're going to complete the square. Alright, do I have a GCF here between 2, 6, and 8? Yes, I do. It's 2. So what happens? What is left over when I divide by 2? X squared, negative 3x, negative 4. Now once this is done, then I again factor. Okay, factors of x squared, x and x. Two numbers that multiply give me, well, factors of -4. I would say 4 and 1. I know 2 and 2, but 2 and 2 is not going to give me -3. So now when I do the smiley face like this, I will figure out what the middle term is. So let's see. I got 1x and I got 4x. How do I get -3x? Making the 4 negative and the 1 positive. Oh, okay. Am I done? No, you haven't solved the quadratic equations. You just factored it. Fine. So, can 2 ever become 0? No, right? So 2 is not equal to 0, so this is not working. Now let's try here. X minus 4 equals 0. What is x? Well, if you add 4 to both sides, x is 4. X plus 1 equals 0. How is x plus 1 equals 0? Well, when x is -1, duh. And that's it. Okay. Here, I'm supposed to solve for c. This is a quadratic equation, but it's not in standard form. It's not equal to 0. So I'm going to make it equal to 0. How? By subtracting c from both sides. So this is what I get. And this side becomes 0. Now let's factor. There is no greatest common factor, so it's okay. Equals 0. So factors of c squared is c and c. Okay. Factors of 12, but I need a -1 in the middle. Oh, so I'm going to make the factors 4 and 3. When I do the smiley face, I'm supposed to get the middle one. If I don't, then I'm going to have to try on other factors of 12. So anyway, so I got 3c and 4c. How do I get -1c? Make the 4 negative and the 3 positive. Okay, remember each of these factors is equal to 0. So c minus 4 equals 0. C plus 3 equals 0. I'm doing it because I have space. Alright, let's solve for c. So add 4 to both sides and you get 4. Subtract 3 from both sides and you get c equals -3. Okay. Ah, gosh. Here we go. I'm gonna do it in a different page so you could actually see how this works. Okay. So I'm gonna say it and then I'm gonna show you. So I got 4x squared minus 2x minus 5. Who is calling me? Are you seriously calling me? Sorry guys, gotta take this. I have no idea what this is. Hello? Hello? Okay, bye. Oh my god, they're trying to sell me energy. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, sorry, I caught you. Oh yeah. So we are going to complete the square. One of the most intense lessons here. We need to complete the square. And how am I gonna do it? You need to follow to the core all the steps that I'm gonna give you. So we start with the first one, and these papers are gonna be hanged on in my classroom anyway. So let's see. Is it equal to 0? Yes. Okay. Once it is equal to 0, follow the steps. Move the loose number to the other side. Loose number to the other side. Easy, cheesy, lemons, squeezy, whatever. When I say move it to the other side, you cannot just move it and have everything equals to -5. No, you're gonna add 5 to both sides. Oh, okay. What is the next step? Divide through by whatever is multiplied on the square term. The square term is being divided by 4, so I'm gonna divide everything by 4. Okay, so that I end up with x squared minus, what is 2 over 4? 1/2, right? Equal to 5 over 4. I really don't know what that is. Okay. Equals, right? Now what is the next step? Take half of the coefficient of the x term. X term means the linear term. This one, not this one. This one. Take half of it and square it. Okay, so let me just do it over here. What is half of 1/2? Well, 1/2 times 1/2. That's basically what it is. half of that, or 1/2 divided by 2. However you do it. Okay? So this is nothing more than 1/4. When you take half of something, it's like you're multiplying by 1/2. If you take a third of something, it's you're multiplying by 1/3, and so on and so forth. All right, so I get 1/4. So I took half of the linear term, okay, right here, and then it says square it. Okay. Oh, and by the way, it's not just half, it's negative 1/2, negative 1/2. Okay? And square it. So if I square this, I'm gonna get 1/16, correct? 1 square is 1 and 4 square is 16. Okay, so I'm gonna take that, and it says take half of the and add it to both sides. Okay, cool. So this is the format that I'm gonna have. After I divide by the coefficient of the square term, and then I'm taking half of this. This is the format of my equation. That's basically what I'm gonna have. In this box, I'm gonna put the number that I get when I have this and I square it. Okay, so I got 1/16, and I get 1/16 because you take half of the linear term, square it, and then add it to both sides. Okay, what is the next step? Convert this side into a binomial square. Can I turn this into a binomial square? Yes, I can. That is the purpose. You know what? I'm gonna do a step by step, only this once. Remember when I was doing the binomial squares? Let me see, where was that page? I don't know what the page is. Remember when I was showing you x minus 4 and then square, and then you go like x squared, then multiply the inside and double it, and then square the last term? Well, automatically it becomes like that over here, but I'm gonna show it to you step by step. Factors of x squared is x and x. Okay. Factors of 1/16 is 1/4 and 1/4. Okay? Yes? And now I need positive here and I need negative here. Well, if you add 1/4 plus 1/4, you get 2/4, which is 1/2. So that's here. So that's basically what you have. That is basically what you have. Oh wait, and I gotta add this too. Okay, so to add this, since I'm not gonna be using the calculator, I'm gonna turn this into the same denominator. So I'm gonna multiply by 4/4. So I get 20/16. So 5/4 becomes 20/16 plus 1/16. So this becomes 21/16. All right. So look, this is what it says. As soon as you take half of the term and you square it, you're gonna end up with a binomial square. Now I did this, you don't have to do this. All you have to be cognizant of is what the term that you square is. See that? Remember, look, the same term. So the same term times the same term is the term square. Now, it's taken a long time because this is the most difficult equation. The other ones are very easy. All right, so now that I have this, all I gotta do is, I don't know, it says, what it says, square root both sides. Okay, so I'm gonna square root both sides. So what happens when I square root a square? They cancel out. So that leaves me with x minus 1/4. And then the square root of this, well, the square root of 21 doesn't have a perfect square root, so it's gonna have to be left as the square root of 21, but 16 does have a perfect square root. So I'm not gonna just put this under the square root. No, it's gonna be 4. Square root of 16 is 4. Okay. Is there anything else? Yes, we're solving for x. So what we're going to do is we are going to add 1/4 to both sides. So when I add it right here, it cancels out. And when I add it to the other side, this is what I end up with. 1/4 plus or minus the square root of 21 over 4. If you want to go even further, you could say that this is the same thing as 1 plus or minus the square root of 21 over 4, since they have the same denominator, right? And that is how you solve a quadratic equation by completing the square. So let us walk through the steps again. So it says, move the loose term to the other side. So I did. Then divide by the coefficient on the square term. I did. Then it says, take half of the linear term and square it. I did, and I got 1/16. And then add it to both sides. Then it says that by doing that, you create a perfect square, a perfect square binomial. Okay? So we did. Now we square root both sides and solve for x. Okay, that's it. All right, now let's do one. Okay, so the steps are right here. If you're not my student, I'm just gonna put them for like 4 seconds so you could see them. Okay, we got it? Perfect. All right, so let's solve some quadratic equations by completing the square. Remember, you have to memorize the steps. So, what is the first step? It says, move the loose number to the other side. So, let me see now. Okay. So I have x squared plus 6x, okay, equaling positive 7, because I added 7 to both sides. Now, after you move the loose number, this is the format of your equation. That is the format of your equation. Why? Well, after you move the loose number to the other side, you're going to divide by whatever is on the x squared. But right now, there's a 1. If you divide anything by 1, it's itself, so it really doesn't matter. Then after that, you write the format like this, with the boxes. What's going to go in the box? Easy. Half of the linear term squared. In other words, take half of the linear term and then square it. So let's see. I'm going to do it on the side right here. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 squared is 9. I know I didn't have to do all this because we already know that half of 6 is 3 and then 3 squared is 9. So then look, you add the 9 to both sides. Once you do that, you have created your binomial square. You put x in here, and remember what was the term that you squared. The term that you squared was the 3. And like we practiced, we know that it's going to be a positive. And let us just backtrack a little bit. If I was to undo this, let's see, if I was to expand this, well, you square the first term, so x squared. Then you multiply the insides and double it. 3 times x is 3x, double 6x. And then square this, 3 squared is 9. So yes, it works. On the other side, I get 16. Then it says, square root both sides. Square root both sides. You see, you have to do that. Okay, what happens when I square root a square term? They cancel out. So that leaves me with x plus 3. Square root of 16 is 4. Plus or minus 4. And now, I subtract 3 from both sides. So I get negative 3 plus or minus 4. In other words, x can be negative 7, or x can be negative 3 plus 4 is 1. All right? Once again, move the loose term to the other side. Divide by whatever is on the x squared. Take half of the linear term and square it. And add it to both sides. That will create a perfect square binomial. Then, square root both sides. That will cancel out the squaring, right? and then solve for x, not forgetting that when you square root something, you're gonna get a plus or a minus. Okay, a plus and a minus. All right, so let's see if you could do this. Let's go with the steps again. Move the loose number to the other side. Divide by whatever is on the x square. So divide by 1, really everything remains the same. After that, look, you have this term. This term never disappears. What you're doing is you're taking half of this term and you're squaring it. So your format, right? That's what you're gonna do, right? Whatever comes out of here, you're gonna add it to both sides. So half of 8 is 4. 4 squared is 16. Okay? As soon as you take half and square it and you add it, you have created your perfect square binomial. So the x goes here now. 16 and 8. Well, 8 comes from the multiplication of something and doubling it, right? And 16 comes from when you square the second term. Okay, so if I square something, I got 16, this gotta be 4. And this sign right here is gonna be this sign. Or you could just remember what was the number that you squared. The number that I squared was 4. Look, half of 8 was 4 and then square. Got it? Okay then. And that equals to 20. What else do I do? I square root both sides. By square rooting both sides, then this cancels out, leaving you with x plus 4. Now, remember that let me just write it. Okay. So, square root of 20. I don't know what the square root of 20 is. It's a number between, the square root of 16 is 4. The square root of 25 is 5. So it's a number between 4 and 5. Now, let us solve for x. So x equals to negative 4 because I subtract 4 from both sides, plus or minus square root of 20. Now, sometimes they won't want you to leave it as radical 20 if you can actually simplify it. So I am going to simplify it. The square root of 20 can be written as the square root of 4 times the square root of 5, correct? And I know that the square root of 4 is 2, so square root of 5 doesn't have one. So there you have it. That is your answer. Don't even think about trying to add the 4 and the 2 because they're not like terms. The 2 is being accompanied by this radical 5, so you cannot do that. Okay? All right, one more page. Wow. I'm trying to make these lessons shorter, but they don't. Oh, okay. So it says, find 3 consecutive positive even integers such that the product of the second and the third integer is 20 more than 10 times the first integer. I have no idea what I'm reading, but anyway, let's do it. 3 consecutive positive even integers. Even integers, okay, if you start with the first integer, your first integer should be x. Your second integer, since even numbers go by 2s, is going to be x plus 2. And the third one is going to be x plus 4. That's what I know. Okay, so what else? Then it says the product of the second and third integers. Okay, the product of the second, okay, second, first, second, third, second and third integers is, the word is means equal, 20 more than 10 times the first. So 20 more than 10 times the first. I'm nice. So now what? That's it. So I need to find the integers. Sure. So I'm gonna basically use the distributive property here. X squared, right? Then you get 4x and 2x. That's for the middle term. 4x and 2x. So I get 6x. Look, the smiley face never lies. It says that you multiply those and you're gonna get your middle term. 2 times 4 is 8. Or you could just do it old-fashioned distributive property. I really don't mind. Okay. Quadratic? Yes. So then, equal to 0? Yes. Okay. X squared plus 6x plus 8 minus, okay, because I'm moving this to the other side, minus 10x minus 20, and now they're no longer here, so that's equal to 0. Let me add the like terms. So x squared, 6x minus 10x is negative 4x, okay. 8 minus 20 is negative 14. Wait, 8 minus 20 is negative 12. Woo, almost. And now, you want to practice completing the square? I can factor this. I can definitely factor it. Okay, I could just find the greatest common factor, open the parentheses, and then find the factors and solve for x. But since we are practicing completing the square, then let's complete the square. So move the loose number to the other. Okay, you see, now this is equal to 0. So now move the loose number to the other side. Take half of the linear term and square it. So half of negative 4 is negative 2. Square it is, negative 2 squared is 4. Okay. And you add it to both sides, correct? Okay. Now, that creates a binomial square. What was the term that I squared? 2, right? See that? Remember, this sign goes here. Okay. 16. Alright, so I'm going to square root both sides. I'm going to try to work over here. If I square root both sides, I get x minus 2 equals plus or minus 4. Correct? Because I squared the 16. X equals to positive 2 plus or minus 4. I added 2 to both sides. So x is either 6 or x is either negative 2. Yes. 2 minus 4, 2 plus 4. Got it? Awesome. All right. This one we did already. Did I actually do it already? X plus 2 to x plus 1, x minus 2, no, I didn't do it. I'm just gonna guide you through the process, and this time, this one, I am not going to complete the square for this one because it's gonna be too long and I don't have enough space. So we just cross multiply. So you know what you're gonna do, right? 2x plus 2 times x minus 2, okay? Equals x minus 1 times x plus 4. Okay, if you can understand my handwriting, then just listen to what I'm saying. Okay, so when I multiply this, I get 2x squared, and in the middle I get negative 4, and 2 is negative 2x, and then here I get negative 4 equals x squared. Here is 4x and this is negative 1x, so that's 3x. I'm trying to save space. Minus 4. Alright, so one of the sides has to be equal to 0, so I'm going to make this equal to 0 because I have a 2x squared over here. So now, wow, I feel like doing it the old-fashioned way. Subtract x squared, subtract 3x, add 4. Subtract x squared, subtract 3x, add 4. Nice, awesome. So then let's see now. 2x squared minus x squared is 1x squared. Negative 2 and negative 3, that's negative 5. Negative 4 and 4 cancel out. That's it. So then what do you have left? X squared minus 5x. All right, there is no loose number, so I'm not gonna be completing the square, but I'm gonna be factoring the regular way. So the first thing is I try to see if there is a GCF. GCF, oh yeah, they all can be divided by x. Okay, so take out the x. So what happens when I divide by x? Well, I end up with x because x times x is x squared minus 5 because x times negative 5 is negative 5x. Okay, so now I set each of the factors equal to 0. Can x be 0? Yes, so x is 0. And what else? X can be positive 5 because 5 minus 5 is 0. So x can also be positive 5. Boom. Okay then. This one we can practice completing the square because that's the skill that I need you to attain, to acquire. So let's see. Move the loose number to the other side. Okay. Divide through by the x squared, the coefficient of x squared. Boom. It's the same thing. And now take half of this, take half of 3 and square it. So what is half of 3? Okay, 1.5 and square it. No, I don't want you to do it like that. I want you to do it this way. Half of 3. Oh, negative 3, sorry. Half of negative 3, you see that? 3 over 2. And then square it. So what do you get? 9 over 4. That's the way I want you to do it. Okay, so then I end up with x squared minus 3x plus 9 over 4 equaling 10 plus 9 over 4. Because we got to add it to both sides, correct? All right then. Now, this, as soon as I took half and square it, that creates a perfect square trinomial. So this becomes x. And what was the term that we squared? Negative 3 over 2. So that's what you're going to write over here. See? If you're confused, just go back to the term that you squared. And that will be right here. Because this is the square of the second term. So this square should give you this one. Okay. Now, what is 10 plus 9/4? Well, let's turn this into something over 4. So that will be 40 over 4. So that'll be 49 over 4. If this is 40 over 4, then 40 plus 9 is 49 and over 4. All right then. Oh, I forgot the square over here. You know what's next, right? Take the square root of this. You know what happens when I take the square root? Square root of 49 is 7, square root of 4 is 2, so I get that. Then I add 3 over 2 to both sides to solve for x. And I get that. Oh, I forgot, yeah, plus or minus. And then you just add them, okay? They have the same denominator, so you shouldn't have any problem. Okay, you could say x equals, okay, 3 plus 7 is 10, so this would be 10 over 2, okay? Or the other one would be 3 minus 7 is 4, so negative 4 over 2. And, you know, this is 5, this is negative 2, blah, blah, blah. Got it? Okie dokie. So let's see, what else do I have? Okay, we're almost done with this. I'm only gonna do one more problem, you do the other one. So solve by completing this square. Sure, why not? So 2y squared plus 4 equals 9y. Something is fishy right here. First of all, this is not equal to 0, so I'm gonna make it equal to 0. Although, if I'm smart enough, I know that I need this 9y over here and I need the loose number over there. So if I was to do both at the same time, I get 2y squared minus 9y. I already put it on the other side. And then move the loose number to the other side. So negative 4. Nice. Then it says divide thoroughly by the coefficient of the square term. Okay, so I'm going to divide everything by 2. So I get y squared divided by 2, right? Look, 2y squared divided by 2 is just y squared. Minus 9 divided by 2 is just 9 over 2. I'm not going to go into 4.5, okay? Because what happens is if I write 4.5 here, that's gonna mess up my plans when I try to do the binomial square. All right, and I divide by 2 here, so I get -2. Now it says take half of the linear coefficient. Well, half of 9 over 2 is 9 over 4, because you're multiplying by 1/2. So 9 times 1 is 9, 2 times 2 is 4, so it's -9 over 4. Let us do it over here. Look, you have -9 over 2, and you multiply by half. So that's -9 over 4, correct? -9 over 4. And when you square that, you get 81 over 16. Get it? Okay then. So take half of the linear coefficient and add it to both sides. All right, and now that creates a perfect square trinomial. Remember, what was it that you squared? -9 over 4. So that's exactly what I'm going to write over here. Now -2 times, plus 81 over 16. Okay, I'm going to have to turn this into something over 16. Remember, 2 over 1. So how do I turn 1 into 16? Multiply by 16. So 2 times 16 is 32. So this is -32 over 16 plus 81 over 16. All right. So what is that? What is that? I don't know. 49. So this right here is the same thing as 49 over 16. So anyways, I think I have enough space to write it down. So y minus 9 over 4 squared equals to 49 over 16. Oh, okay. Now what's the next step? You gotta square root the whole thing. So square root of this will be y minus 9 over 4 equaling plus or minus 7 over 4. 7 over 4. And now, let me see. And now I am going to add 9 over 4 to both sides. So I'm going to end up with y. Okay. I'm going to end up with y equals 9 over 4 plus or minus 7 over 4. And you already know what to do here. Y equals blah, blah, blah. Y equals blah, blah, blah. And that's it. All right then. And you do the last problem because it's too much. It says a contractor needs, let me see, 43 minutes for this one. My God. A contractor needs 54 square feet of brick to construct a rectangular walkway. The length of the walkway is 15. Okay, I need a visual here. I cannot work without a visual. So this is the rectangle. Okay. So it says the length of the walkway is 15 more than the width. They're not telling me what the width is. Screw them. The width is going to be x. And now that I don't know this one and I put x, now I know what the length is. 15 more than the width. 15 more than the width that I didn't know, so it was x. Okay. So now write an equation that could be used to determine the dimensions of the walkway. Hello, we're talking about area. So area is equal to length times width, right? Okay then. So area is equal to length times width. Solve this equation to find the length and the width in feet of the walkway. Okay. So the area that was given to us is 54 square feet, right? Okay, so I'm gonna say that the area, so 54 feet equals to x squared plus 15x. All right. So how do you wanna solve this? If you wanna solve it by completing the square, remember that you already have the loose number on the other side. If you wanna rewrite this as x squared plus 15x equaling 54, then by all means do so. Then remember, you gotta divide by the coefficient, but the coefficient here is 1, so it doesn't change anything. And then remember, you gotta take half of this and square it. and then creates the perfect square binomial, and then you square root it, and then you solve, right? Good job. All right, see you on the next lesson. Bye-bye.